Good afternoon, Stratomaticers. Welcome back for another replay between the 1911 Detroit Tigers and Washington Senators. We just concluded game number 45 of my season replay of the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers won 5-4 off of a top of the 10th home run by Jim Delahanty, which was a pretty fun game. I think we had 6 or 7 stolen bases or stolen base attempts in that game, along with a home run. Didn't happen a whole lot in 1911. So today's game is going to focus on another interesting historical player, Walter Johnson, Big Train. He's on the mound for the Washington Senators. So 2 of the initial 5 Hall of Fame players are featured in this game. 1936, Cobb and Walter Johnson both were among the first class of Hall of Fame inductees into the Baseball Hall of Fame, along with Christy Mathewson, who we'll be doing a replay of next, Babe Ruth and Honus Wagner. So those 5 were the inductees into the Hall of Fame for the first time in 1936. So Walter Johnson should be fun to play in this game. I know the Tigers have faced him before and I think lost in the previous games. Currently the replay Tigers are 45-40. Looking for that 46 win today. It's going to be hard though. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, this is a super advanced replay. It also is using ballpark effects. So today's game comes to you from Griffith Stadium in Washington, D.C. I use the historical rosters or lineups and then historical pitchers, and then I make substitutions on my own throughout the game. I use baseballreference.com for the historical information for my matchups. But this game was played at Griffith Stadium. Paid attendance was 5,139. It was played on the 3rd of June 1911. It was a Saturday game and of course played during the day. Interestingly enough, the game time was 1 hour and 36 minutes. So, over half of what a current game goes today. I don't think oftentimes we're able to get out of there in 3 hours, which is pretty amazing to think that a ball game could be played in an hour and a half, 110 years ago. I suppose no commercial timeouts and the game was just different, but pretty interesting nonetheless. So we are using ballpark effects. So for Griffith Stadium, for lefty and righty batters on singles, 1 through 5 will result in that ballpark effect single. 6 or greater will result in an out. And then for home runs, 1 to 19 will result in a home run for a left-handed batter. Only a 1 through 5 though for a right-handed batter. So big difference between the lefty-righties in Griffith Stadium. So we'll see what takes place regarding ballpark effects as we go through this game. So by way of introduction, again I mentioned the Big Train Walter Johnson is on the mound. Johnson in 1911 had a really good season. He was 25-13 for the last place Senators. He had a 1.89 ERA. He had 37 starts and 1 save. 323 innings pitched, 292 hits allowed, 70 walks, along with 207 strikeouts, and he did allow 8 home runs. So he is a right-handed hurler. I think historically he was 6'1". I read some articles about his pitching velocity. I think there were some studies done, and I think that what I heard was his fastball was upwards of 91 miles an hour. So 91 mile an hour fastball won't even keep a guy in the major league nowadays. Just goes to show you how much the game of baseball has evolved over the past century. That back in 1911, he had that much feared fastball. So I think that's another piece that makes the Strat game interesting, is being able to really understand a little bit better how much baseball has changed over the decades. So Walter Johnson's card himself, he has a point of weakness of 9 innings. Defensively, he's a 2 and a 17, so above average defensive pitcher. Hitting wise, he uses the number 4 hitting card. He hits for power, and he is a right-handed batter. No box expected to be seen out of Johnson today. However, he does issue a wild pitch on a roll of 12 or less. He is a right-handed hurler. You watch videos of Johnson on YouTube, and you'll see he had a sidearm delivery, which was really interesting. Hold rating of 0 and a bunting rating of B. So he is one of the players that does not use just the default 1 to 10 for run rating for pitchers. He has a run rating of 1 to 14, so he's faster than the average pitcher. And it'll be fun to see how many strikeouts he gets today. Going for the Detroit Tigers on the other side of the field is George Mullin. Mullin was a workhorse for the Tigers in 1911. He had an 18-10 record, ERA of 3.07. He made 29 starts, pitched 234 innings, 245 hits allowed, 61 walks, and 87 strikeouts, and did allow 7 home runs. So really probably the best starting pitcher that the Tigers had in 1911 as records go. So those are your starting pitchers for today's game. We'll go through lineups next. We'll start with the Detroit Tigers, being that they're visiting. Davy Jones is going to lead off in left field. He's a left-handed hitter. Switch hitter Donnie Bush bats second at short. The Georgia Peach Ty Cobb is in center. Left-handed hitter, of course, with a -1 arm. Sam Crawford's in right. Left-handed batter, -3 arm. Game 45 hero Jim Delahanty playing first base. He's a right-handed batter. George Moriarty playing third and hitting from the right side. Your 7th batter is Charlie O'Leary, the second baseman, also a right-handed hitter. Oscar Stanage is behind the plate. He's Mullin's battery mate for this game. He hits from the right side and has a -3 arm. And then again, our pitcher is George Mullin. He uses the number 5 hitting card. However, he is a weak hitter, and he hits from the right side. And he's in the 9th spot. I didn't go through Mullin's card, I forgot. So he has a point of weakness of 9 as well. Mentioned the hitting rating. From a defensive standpoint, he's below average of 424. Just like Johnson, we don't expect to see any box from him today. However, he will have a wild pitch on a 4 or less, a little more control than what Johnson had. He throws from the right side, and then his hold rating is a +1, bunting D. So you take that hold rating of +1 with Stanage's arm of -3, and you'll get a -2 for that pitcher-catcher combo. Really important for this 1911 game because it is small ball, so a lot of chances are taken trying to get runners around the base passes by stealing. So that's your Detroit Tiger lineup. Let's move over to the Senators. Pretty similar to the game that we had in 45. Changed up catchers here though. So Clyde Milan is going to get us started. He's your center fielder. He's a left-handed hitter, -2 arm. Whit Conroy's at third. He's a righty. Jack Lulavet is in left, +3 arm for Lulavet. So we'd expect the Tigers to have some good run opportunities with that arm. Doc Essler's in the 4 spot. He's playing right field, lefty, a -2 arm. George McBride at short, right-handed batter. Bill Cunningham, second base, another righty. John Henry's playing first, who also hits from the right side. Gabby Street replaces Ainsmith. Quite an arm improvement. He's a -3 arm, hitting from the right side. Ainsmith was a +2. I think it helped facilitate some of the stolen bases that the Tigers had in the previous game. I think Crawford had 2 stolen bases in that game. And then the pitcher again is Walter Johnson, right-handed batter, using the number 4 pitching card. So those are your Washington Senators. Looking forward to today's game. Let's play some ball. All right, so before we get going with today's action, I did make a mistake in my introduction. I mentioned that the Washington Senators finished in last place in 1911. That was not true. It was actually the St. Louis Browns. The Browns finished the season in 8th place in the American League with a 45-107 record. The Senators were almost 20 games better at 64-90. So the Senators finished in 7th of 8 places in the 1911 season. So my conscience is cleared now, having corrected that fact. So we've got Johnson on the hill facing the left-handed batter Davy Jones. Pitch to Jones, a 3 and a 7. Against a right-handed batter is a fly ball right field B. So Jones flies out to right field to get the Tigers started. Shortstop Donnie Bush is up next. Bush was a switch hitter, so he'll be batting from the left side of the plate. It's a 2 and a 10. 2 and a 10 against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball first base A. So we're going to score that one 3-1 for the second out. It's going to bring up Georgia Peach, Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb facing his friend Walter Johnson. A 6 and a 7 against a left-handed batter is a ground ball second base A. So just like that, the Tigers go down 1-2-3 at the top of the first, and after a half inning, the score is tied at 0. George Mullin's on the mound for the Tigers. He's going to face the center fielder Clyde Milan. A 1 and a 4 against a right-handed pitcher results in a ballpark effect single. So for a left-handed batter on a 1 through 5, Milan will get a single. A 6 or greater, it'll be a line out to second base. That's a 7. So a line out to second base for Milan. And the Senators have one down. It's going to bring up Wood Conroy next. Conroy is playing third base. He hits from the right side of the plate. Pitch to Conroy, a 2 and a 7. It's going to result in a double 1-4 and a single 5-20. And that's a 20, so Conroy is on first with a single. First hit of the day for the Senators. It's going to bring up the left-handed batter and left fielder Jack Lullivette. Let's take a look at Conroy here from a stealing standpoint. The pitcher-catcher combo for Mullin and Stanage is a +2 or a -2, excuse me. Conroy would have a good lead on a roll of 2 through 9. On a 10 or 12, he would be picked off at first. I'm going to go ahead and hold off on stealing him. However, I'm going to hold him on base. Shortstop Donnie Bush and our first baseman Jim Delahanty are going to work together to keep Conroy close to the bag. Lullivette is going to swing away. Left-handed hitter. A 3 and a 7 against a right-handed pitcher is going to result in a fly ball center field B. That's going to result in a fly out to Cobb. Conroy is going to stay at second base, and it's going to bring up Doc Gessler next. I'm going to take the hold off, give my defense a chance to have a better chance of getting this last out here. Conroy is still going to stay put. Gessler's going to swing away. That's a 6 and a 4 against the left-handed batter, and that's going to be a fly ball center field X. So that ball is hit to Ty Cobb. Cobb's a very good defensive center fielder. He's a 119. So we're going to roll on this super advanced fielding chart. So a 19 is going to result in an F3 from my range. And then a 9 is going to result in a blank. So that's a fly ball to Ty Cobb, who's able to plant himself underneath and record that third out. So the Senators are able to get a base hit, they strand one, and after one inning, it's Detroit 0 and Washington 0. Top of 2, knotted up ball game at 0. Johnson's back on the mound for the Senators. He's pitching to Hall of Famer Sam Crawford. It's a 4 and an 8 against the left-handed batter, and that's going to result in a single. So Crawford's able to get a single off of Johnson, and the Tigers have the leadoff runner on first. It's going to bring up the hero of Game 45, Judd Delahanty, who hit that solo home run in the top of the 10th to help win that game for Detroit. We're going to keep Crawford at first. I am going to hold him, however. It's going to result in our second baseman O'Leary, and that's going to result in Gabby Street, or no, not Gabby Street, Bill Cunningham and the first baseman John Henry working together to keep Crawford close. Delahanty's going to swing away. It's a 2 and a 12 against a right-handed pitcher. So it's a ground ball, first base C. So ground ball, first base C. Henry is helping hold Crawford at first. However, there won't be any impact defensively to this at all. So ground ball, first base C with the runner on first. Batters out, runners advance one base. So we're going to score that a 3 unassisted for Delahanty. His out. Henry makes that himself. So we have one out. Crawford goes to second. We've got George Moriarty up next. Third baseman Moriarty hits from the right side. Infield's going to play normal. From Johnson is a 3 and a 4 against right-handed pitchers, and that's going to be a ballpark effect single opportunity. So on a roll of 1 through 5, Moriarty will have a single. 6 or greater, it'll be a line out to shortstop, and it is a line out to the shortstop. So 2 down now for the Tigers. It's going to bring up Charlie O'Leary, second baseman. Infield's playing normal. That's a 1 and a 6 against a right-handed pitcher, results in a fly ball to center field. So Johnson gives up an initial hit to Crawford. However, the Senators are able to put down the Tigers 2, 3, 4 after that. And after 1.5, we have a knotted game at 0. Mullin's back on the mound. The righty got off to a good start in the first inning. Shortstop George McBride is up first. Pitch to McBride, a 6 and a 7 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball, shortstop A. So Donnie Bush converts the first out. Bill Cunningham is up next. Cunningham's the second baseman for the Senators. He hits from the right side of the plate. It's a 5 and a 9 against a right-handed batter. That's a fly ball to right field. Going to bring up the first baseman John Henry. Pitch to Henry, a 6 and a 10 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball, shortstop X. Ball's hit to Donnie Bush, who is a 176. So a 1 on a 4 is a G2 hashtag. We're going to ignore the hashtag. And then a 76, we have an 11. is a blank. So Bush is able to throw over to Delahanty for the third out, and the Senators go down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second. After 2, Tigers 0, Senators 0. Top of the third, game's tied at 0. Johnson's back on the mound for the Senators. Catcher Oscar Stanage is at the plate. Right-handed Stanage gets a 1 and a 5, resulting in a strikeout. That would be Walter Johnson's first strikeout of the day. First out of the top of the third for the Tigers. It's going to bring up pitcher George Mullin. Mullin is a right-handed batter. He does use the number 5 card for pitchers. However, he is a weak hitter. It's a 5 and a 2 against a right-handed batter. Is a ground ball, second base X. So that ball is hit to Bill Cunningham. He is a 459. Not a very good defensive second baseman. So rolling on the super advanced fielding chart is a 5. So a 4 and a 5 is an SI1. So far looking pretty good for the Tigers. And then a 14 on a 59 for second base is a blank. It's a blank. So it results in a single. So Mullin is able to get a single off of Walter Johnson. Tigers have 1 aboard for Donnie Bush. Mullin does have an above average run rating. He's a 1-13. However, he's not going to steal here, nor is he going to be held at first. We're going to play infield normal, see if we can't turn a double play here. Donnie Bush is up. Switch hitting shortstop. Or excuse me, it's Davy Jones who's up. My apologies. Where did Jones's card go? Oh, here it is. So Jones is up. So swing away. It's a 3 and an 8. 3 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball, second base A. So that double play I spoke about is a reality. It's going to be a 4-6-3. So 4-6-3 puts an end to the Tigers' dreams in the top of the third. And after 2.5, the game remains knotted at 0. Just making some edits here to my score sheet. Alright. Gabby Street, Senators catcher, is going to get something going here for the Senators in the bottom of the third. Pretty fast moving ball game thus far. Pitch from Mullin, a 2 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher is a strikeout. So Mullin records his first strikeout of the game. It's going to bring up the pitcher Walter Johnson. Johnson uses the number 4 pitching card. He hits from the right side of the plate. However, he does have an end power. So 2 and an 8 is a strikeout. So Johnson strikes out. And now it's going to bring up the leadoff hitter, center fielder Clyde Milan with 2 down. It's a 3 and a 10. It's going to result in a single. However, the clutch play symbol is there. However, we do not have runners on second or third, but we do have 2 outs, but that won't come into play. So Milan reaches on a single. Whit Conroy's up next. Milan has a 17 stealing rating. Well, that would bring it down to a 13 if I was to get a good lead and with my pitcher-catcher combination. I'm going to hold Mullin at second just to take away that chance. So O'Leary and Delahanty are going to work together to keep Mullin close. Pitch from Mullin, a 5 and a 9 against a right-handed batter is a fly ball to right field B. So that's a fly out to right field. Crawford plants himself and makes the catch for the third out. So the Senators are going to strand one off of the single by Clyde Mullin, and after 3, the game's knotted up at 0. Top of 4. Johnson's back on the mound. So far he's allowed 2 hits and has 1 strikeout. Good pitching performance so far by both starting pitchers. Going to lead off with the shortstop Donnie Bush. Bush is 0 for 1 with the ground out to first base in the first. Pitch from Johnson, 5 and a 3, results in a ground ball pitcher X. Johnson's a pretty good defensive pitcher. He's a 217 on the range error chart. So we're going to go ahead and roll. So that's an 8. 2 and an 8 is a G3. Then he has rating a 17 on his error side of things, and I rolled a 10. 17-10 is a blank. So that's a 1-3 put out. And Donnie Bush is the first victim of the 4th inning for the Tigers. Brings up Ty Cobb. Cobb grounded out 4-3 in the first. Oop, we don't need the 20-sided die. So a 4 and a 9 against a left-handed batter results in a single on a 1, a line out to second, 2 through 20. Oh! Leaping snag by Bill Cunningham, and the line out to second is the second out of the inning for the Tigers. Brings up Sam Crawford. Crawford is 1 for 1 on the day. A 3 and a 9. 3 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball second base C, so he grounds out 4-3. So 3 up, 3 down for Walter Johnson and the Senators. After 3.5, it's 0-0. It seems in my replay, and I haven't pulled stats lately, but Crawford is outperforming Cobb so far this season. I don't have the exact numbers on it, but it's just kind of been a little bit strange how the 1-2-3 for the Tigers has gone. Crawford seems to lead off a lot of innings. I know Cobb is right around probably that 300 mark. Maybe going into this, my expectations were a little bit too high for him because, well, he is Ty Cobb. But I guess we'll continue to see how it plays out. Mullin to Lelevit, a 3 and a 9 against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball first base A. So that's a ground out Delahanty to Mullin for the first out. Brings up the left-handed hitting Doc Gessler. Gessler flew out to center in the first. Senators looking to get something going here. That's a 3 and a 9, and that's a hit by pitch. So Gessler is able to take first on a errant pitch by Mullin. He's going to bring up George McBride next. Not very good chances of getting the stolen base here. Just a little bit over 50% for Gessler. I'm going to keep him there. Infield's going to play normal. Got 1 out. That's a 1 and a 7, although we did roll a 1. So there's an opportunity for a wild pitch. Wild pitch occurs on a 4 or less. That's a 15. So no wild pitch. We're going to re-roll the 3 dice. That's a 1 and a 7 against right-handed pitching. And that's going to be a single 2 stars. So hit by pitch with Gessler, and then a single by McBride, moving Gessler over to third. And the Senators have a little something going here. Cunningham is up. Cunningham was a 190 batter in 1911. Let's see if we can't get Gessler in. He does have a bunting grade of A. I'm going to position my corners in, and then I'm going to bunt with Cunningham. So that A becomes a B. It will be a squeeze play with Gessler at third. It's going to be a safety squeeze, however. And let's see what happens here. So the safety squeeze with Cunningham at the plate, bunting. That's a 1, so another opportunity for a wild pitch. So we're going to go ahead and roll that. 4 or less, a wild pitch occurs, and that's going to score Gessler and move McBride to second. 7, so we were close, but no cigar. I'm going to re-roll my 3 6-sided dice. And that's a 5 and a 7. So a 5 results the ball being hit to first base. So the ball's hit to Delahanty. And then a 7 on a B results in a bad bunt. Batter lays down a bad bunt. Lead runner is thrown out by the fielder. So, poorly executed by Cunningham. He's going to reach first. I reckon we would score that a fielder's choice. 1, 2. And Gessler is thrown out at home. So McBride is going to go to second. Cunningham will go to first. Lead runner is thrown out, and we have 2 outs for the first baseman, right-handed hitting John Henry. Henry grounded out 6-3 in the second. So puts a bit of a damper on the inning for the Senators. It's going to be up to Henry to move them along. Pitch from Mullin is a 6 and a 5. 6 and a 5 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball third base B. It's going to be a 5-3 putout for the third out. So the Senators had a little something going. They're going to strand 2 off of 1 single. No errors committed. And at the end of 3.5, or excuse me, at the end of 4, it's still knotted at 0. Top of 5. Johnson to work to Delahanty. Delahanty's 0 for 1. Grounded out first base in the second inning. John Henry made an unassisted out on a ground ball hit to him. Pitch from Johnson. That's a 4 and a 10. Against a right-handed batter is a ballpark effect single. So on a 1 through 5, Delahanty's going to have a hit, and that's a 9. Right-handed batter, that means the ball was lined out to shortstop. So Delahanty is retired for the first out of the 5th. Brings up George Moriarty next. Moriarty lined out to short in the second. Pitch from Johnson. 6 and a 4. 6 and a 4 results in a fly ball center field X. Ball is hit to Clyde Milan, who's a 117. Great defensive center fielder. It's going to be a 9 and an 11. Looking over at our chart here. Alright, so a 1 and a 9 is going to be an F2. And for center fielders, a 17 and an 11 is a blank, so that's going to be a fly ball out to center. Second out of the inning. It's going to bring up second baseman O'Leary. O'Leary flew out to center in the second. 2 down now for the Tigers. Pitch is a 4 and a 7 against a right-handed batter. That's going to be a single, 1-6. A line out to second, 7-20. And I rolled a 20. So, second consecutive 1-2-3 inning for Johnson. Tigers go down in order. At the end of 4.5, it's the Detroit Tigers 0 and the Senators 0. Right-handed starting pitcher George Mullin for the Tigers is going to face the catcher, Senators Gabby Street. Street struck out in the third inning. A 3 and a 12 against a right-handed pitcher results in a foul out to the catcher. Boy, both starters are really working well this game. It's going to bring up Walter Johnson. Johnson struck out in the third. It's a 1 and a 6, and he gets his second strikeout of the game. So 2 down. Third strikeout overall for Mullin. It's going to bring up the leadoff hitter Clyde Milan. He's batting from the left side. He's 1 for 2 today. Has one of the 3 Senator hits. He had a single in the third, lined out to second in the first. It's a 4 and an 8 against the left-handed batter. A single, 1-13. Ground ball, first base, 14-20. And that's a single. So Milan picks up his second hit of the game. And with 2 out, Senators have a runner at first base. It's going to bring up to the third baseman, Wood Conroy. Conroy had a single in the first, flew out to right in the third. Tigers are going to hold Milan at first. O'Leary and Delahanty are going to work to keep Milan close to the base. I'm just going to look here real quick. I'm going to try to attempt for a good lead here. I'm going to try to get Milan over to second. See if we can't get a little rally action going here with 2 outs. So a 2 through 6 or an 11 results in a good lead. Nope, no good lead. Hold will remain with Milan at first. Conroy's going to swing away. That's a 1 and a 2 against a right-handed pitcher. Is a line out third base. So Milan, it's the fans at Griffith Stadium a little bit excited here. However, nothing materializes on that. He's left on base at first, and after 5, the score remains tied at 0. 6th inning, Stanage is up. Tiger catcher is 0 for 1 on the day. He struck out in the third. Johnson's working very effectively from the mound. That's a 4 and an 8 against a right-handed batter is a strikeout. So Stanage strikes out again against the big train. Just the second strikeout on the day for Johnson, both of Stanage. Brings up the pitcher George Mullin. Mullin got a single in the third. Pitch from Johnson is a 1 and a 6, and that's a strikeout. So Mullin is retired on a strikeout. Third strikeout now for Johnson. Gives 2 quick outs to the Senators, hoping to work a clean 6th inning. Brings up Davy Jones, Tiger leadoff hitter. Is 0 for 2 on the day. Hit into that double play in the third. Pitch from Johnson is a 3 and a 3. That's a ground ball third base, or excuse me, ground ball third base B. So that's a ground out 5-3. So 3 up, 3 down, 3 consecutive 3 up, 3 down innings for the big train Walter Johnson. At the end of 5.5, the score remains tied at 0. Jack Lilovit enters the batter box. Left-handed hitter for the day is 0 for 2. Flew out to center in the first, was retired 3-1 in the fourth. Pitch from Mullin, a 2 and a 10, results in a single to right field. So I think for the first time today, the Senators have their leadoff hitter on. Yep, that's correct. So Lelevit goes to first with a single, brings up Doc Gessler. Gessler was hit by a pitch in the fourth. And take a look here real quick. Gessler had a 282 average. We're going to swing away. I'm not going to try to steal with Lelevit. Here we go. Infield is playing normal. Pitch to Gessler is a 2 and a 9. Against a right-handed pitcher is a strikeout. So one down. 4 strikeout for Mullin. Brings up George McBride. McBride had a single in his last at bat in the fourth. Grounded out 6-3 in the second. Going to swing with McBride. A 3 and a 5. Against a right-handed pitcher is a strikeout. So the Senator lineup is a bit of a conundrum. 5th strikeout for Mullin. Once you get past those first 4 batters, maybe McBride, it really drops off quickly. You know, we're dealing with hitters right around that 200 mark. So, you know, thoughts of trying to bunt with, you know, the number 5 batter who's only a 232 hitter doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, given the guys behind him probably going to need to rely on a bunt to move that runner over. But now we have 2 outs. We're going to have to swing away. Cunningham swings at the Mullin pitch. A 5 and a 6 results in a fly ball left field. So that's going to be an F7 put out. And after that leadoff hit by Lelevit, Senators aren't able to move him over. Strand 1, and after 6, the game remains tied at 0. Johnson to face the shortstop Donnie Bush. Bush is 0 for 2 on the day, looking to get his first hit of the game. Pitch from Johnson, a 1 and an 11. Against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball shortstop B. It's going to be a ground out 6-3 for the first out. Brings up Ty Cobb. So far, Cobb's friend has stymied him for this game. A ground out 4-3 in the first, and a line out to second base in the fourth. Cobb's looking to get something going here. A 5 and a 5 against a left-handed batter is a walk. So the Georgia Peach is able to get a walk off of Walter Johnson. It's going to bring Sam Crawford to the plate. I am going to try to steal with Cobb. He gets a good lead on a 3 through 8. That's an 11. He does not get the good lead. So we're going to swing away with Crawford. Crawford on the day is 1 for 2. That's a 2 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher, results in a single with 1 star. So the 2 premier Tiger batters work the count in the case of Cobb, and then Crawford delivers a single. Puts ducks on the pond for Jim Delahanty, hoping to maybe repeat the heroics that he had in yesterday's game. That solo home run that he was able to get. Delahanty's up. Runners are not going to be held. Hoping for a double play here. Pitch to Delahanty from Johnson is a 5 and an 11. Against a right-handed batter is a fly ball center field B. It's going to be an F8 for the second out. Not enough room for Cobb to attempt to go to third. Moriarty is up next. Excuse me for one moment here while I look something up. just seeing if I could advance a runner at second base. I thought I could on a ball hit the center field. Just looking for the rule. Here we go. Okay, that's only on a ball hit to right field. Alright, never mind. Brings up Moriarty with 2 down. Moriarty's 0 for 2 on the day. Infield's normal. That's a 2 and a 5 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a double, 1-6, a single, 7-20. Regardless, Cobb is going to score. That's a 10, so that's a single. 2 stars. So Moriarty delivers a single, knocks in Cobb for the first run of the day for either team. Moriarty's going to pick up a ribby. That's going to move Crawford over to third. So the big train gives up a single, knocks in the Georgia Peach. Crawford goes to third, Moriarty's at first, and O'Leary, second baseman, is up with 2 outs. No stolen base attempt by Moriarty here. O'Leary's going to swing away. A 2 and a 4 against a right-handed pitcher. Results in a pop out to second base. So that's going to end the inning. However, the Tigers do get a hit and a walk, leave 2 on. They're able to convert and get one of those runs in. At the end of 6 1/2, it's the Tigers 1 and the Senators 0. It was just a matter of who was going to blink first there. George Mullin remains on the mound. Both bullpens remain quiet. Starters are pitching very well. It's going to bring up the first baseman, John Henry. Henry is 0 for 2 on the day. Ground outs in both previous at bats. The pitch from Mullin. 3 and a 3. It's a foul out at third base. So Henry is retired. Brings up Gabby Street. Street is 0 for 2 on the day. Had a strikeout in the third. A 3 and a 4 is another strikeout. So 2 strikeouts on the day for Street. Actually, yeah, that's 2. That's his second. Gives the Tigers 2 outs. 2 quick outs by Mullin. Going to bring out the the pitcher, Walter Johnson. Johnson struck out twice on the day. That's a 6 and a 5 against a right-handed batter. That's a ground ball third base B. So Mullin is able to work through the bottom third of the Senator order in order. At the end of 7, Tigers lead 1-0. Top of the 8th, Tigers lead 1-0. Johnson on the day has allowed 4 hits, 1 run, which was earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Had 3 clean innings back to back, the 4th through the 6th innings. Ran into a little bit of trouble in the 7th. The walk to Cobb, a single to Crawford, and the single from the third baseman George Moriarty to score Cobb. Oscar Stanage, Tiger catcher, is going to get the top half of the 8th going for the Tigers. He's 0 for 2. Both came off strikeouts. A 1 and a 12 is a ground ball pitcher A. So ball's hit weakly back to Johnson. He picks it up, throws it to John Henry for the first out of the inning. Going to bring up the pitcher, George Mullin. Mullin on the day is 1 for 2 at a single and a strikeout. Pitch from Johnson, a 6 and a 6 against a right-handed pitcher, is a strikeout. So second strikeout of Mullin. 4th of the day for Johnson is going to bring up the leadoff hitter, left fielder Davy Jones. Jones is 0 for 3 on the day. A 1 and a 6 results in a double, 1-5, a single, 6-20. That's going to be a single. So Johnson's able to get on with 2 out. Just the 5th hit issued today by Johnson. It's going to bring up the shortstop Donnie Bush. Washington is going to hold Jones at first. No, actually, no, we're not going to. And here's why. Regardless if he's held or not, Jones is going to get a good lead. So it's not going to make any difference. I don't want to decrease my chance defensively to get this 3rd out. So Jones will get a good lead if he attempts to steal. He's not being held. It's going to be a 15, 13, and then it'll be a 10. So it's a 50-50 shot that Jones is going to be able to get the second base. I'm not going to risk it. See if Donnie Bush isn't able to move him over. Bush is hitting from the left side of the plate. Infield's normal. That's a 3 and a 6. 3 and a 6 against a right-handed pitcher is a pop out to first base. So that's the 3rd out of the inning. I reckon if I'd wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, I could have tried to steal Jones there, but you know, with your number 2 hitter followed by Cobb and Crawford, I just didn't want to risk it. So after 7.5, it's still Tigers 1, Senators 0. Just putting my cards back in order here, gang. It's going to bring up the leadoff hitter, Clyde Mullin. Mullin is looking good. He's had 7 strong innings. He's looking to keep that going. So top of the order for the Senators, Clyde Mullin's up. Mullin is 2 for 3 on the day. It's a 5 and a 6 against a left-handed batter. It's a ground ball second base. So Mullin is retired 4-3 for the first out. Brings up Wood Conroy. Third baseman for the Senators is 1 for 3 on the day. He had a single all the way back in the first. It's a 1 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher. Is a pop out to the shortstop. It's going to bring up Jack Lullaby. Left fielder on the day is 1 for 3. Hit from Mullin is a 4 and an 11. 4 and an 11 is a ground ball shortstop B. If he was a right-handed batter, which he's not, he's a lefty. So 4 and 11 is a fly ball center field B. That's going to be an F8. Ty Cobb is able to snag the 3rd out of the inning, and Mullin has another 1-2-3 inning. After 8, Tigers lead 1-0. All right, we go into the 9th. Tigers holding on to a narrow 1-0 lead. Johnson is on the mound. Ty Cobb is going to lead it off for the Tigers. Cobb is 0 for 2 on the day. He did have a walk and scored a run in the 7th. Pitch to Cobb, 1 and an 11. Against a right-handed batter is a ballpark effect single. So on 1 through 5, Cobb will reach first, and it's a 2. So Cobb gets the leadoff single. It's going to bring up the left-handed hitting Sam Crawford. Crawford on the day is 2 for 3. Cobb will be held at first. So the Senator shortstop George McBride, first baseman John Henry are going to work to keep Cobb close to the base. I am going to try to steal with Cobb, however. So on a 3 through 8, I need that for a good lead. And that's a 12, so no good lead. Not rolling well for those today. Crawford's going to swing away. That's a 6 and an 8. But we did roll a 2. So we're going to re-roll this again. 1 through 3, there's a possible balk. 4 through 6, a pass ball. So there's a possible pass ball here. Gabby Street has a pass ball on a roll of 3 or less. No pass ball occurs. So a whole lot of nothing for nothing results in us re-rolling these 3 dice. A 2 and an 11 against a right-handed pitcher is a single ballpark effect. So that ball would be hit to left field if I'm able to get a single. So 1 through 5, and that's a 3. So Crawford gets a single, moves Cobb over to second base. Our left fielder in this game is Jack Lullabit. He has a +3 arm. I'm just going to look at the computations on this to see if we try to send Cobb to third. So our lead runner is at first. It's a single. A, running speed plus outfielder's arm, so that's a 17 plus 3 is a 20. B, if 2 outs add 2. Nope. So we're at a 20. If hit to right field, add 2. If hit to left field, subtract 2. So now we're down to 18. And the runner was held, so we're going to subtract 1. So that's a 17. So I'm going to send the lead runner. So I need a 17 or less. I am going to, oh gosh, if I throw for Cobb, that means Crawford's going to be able to advance to second base. If he, so let's see here, A -5, so that would be running speed plus outfielder's arm, so I'm computing Crawford's chances, so that's an 18 -5 is a 13, if I decide to send him. Okay, I'm going to send Cobb to third. All right. So I'm going to throw for the lead runner, but I'm also going to try to advance the trail runner. All right. So then I'm going to attempt to get Crawford out on a 13 or less going to second. Here we go. 13 or less, or excuse me, 14 or higher, and Crawford is thrown out going to second. Nope, Crawford's able to get to second. So we have runners at third and second now. A little bit of how that cutoff rule works for Super Advanced. Hope that made a little bit of sense. It's going to bring up Doc Gessler next. Excuse me, wrong team. Jim Delahanty's up next. Infield is positioned normal. Delahanty is going to swing away. Neither runner would be held. The infield is going to play normal. That's a 4 and a 5 against a right-handed pitcher, results in an N home run 1, double 2 to 20. That's a 7, so it's a double. That's a double to center field. Just going to write that out. Second base, center field. All right. So Cobb is going to score. Crawford is going to score as well. And then Delahanty is going to go to second. So, as stingy as Walter Johnson has been, runs into a bit of a problem here as he faces the heart of the Tigers' order for the 4th time of the day. So Delahanty's at second on a double, picks up 2 RBIs. Tigers now lead 3-0. It's going to bring up George Moriarty next. On the season, Moriarty was a .243 hitter. He's going to swing away. It's a 2 and a 6. 2 and a 6 against a right-handed pitcher is a ground ball, third base, B. Ball's hit to third base. Got a runner at second. That's a 6. If hit to first, second, batter's out, runners advance. Otherwise, batter holds. So Delahanty's going to stay at second with the first out committed by Moriarty. It's going to bring up Charlie O'Leary, the second baseman. He batted .266 in 1911. going to swing away. It's a 4 and a 7. 4 and a 7 against a right-handed batter is a single 1-6 with a star. Line out second base 7-20. That's a 5. So Johnson has been figured out. Runners on the corners for the Tigers. Tigers lead 3-0. Senators manager is going to keep Walter Johnson in. He's actually reached his point of weakness, and he is fatigued giving up those hits. So we're going to have to put a reliever in. Something I probably wouldn't want to do with Walter Johnson, but it is what it is. He's going to be fatigued here moving forward. So let's take a look at the relievers that we have available to us. We have 3 right-handed batters coming up next. Or 2 right-handed batters and then a lefty. So we're going to bring Dixie Walker into the game. Walker's a right-handed pitcher. POW of 3 as reliever. 430 for defense. No opportunity for a balk. Wild pitch 5 or less. Hold rating of -1. And a hitting card of a number 5. He's weak and he hits from the left side, but he does throw from the right. So Johnson's going to leave the game. Walker's going to come in. So Walker comes into the ball game. He is a right-handed hitter with a -1 hold rating. 0 for a balk wild pitch on a 5 or less. Johnson worked 8 1/3. We'll get a line out here for Johnson at the half inning. So Walker's on the mound. He's facing Oscar Stanage with runners on the corner, 1 down. Bullpen is up and active for the Tigers. Wild Bill Donovan pitched in yesterday's game in relief. I'm going to bring in Ed Laffett, or at least he's working in the bullpen warming up. Walker pitches to Stanage with runners on the corner with 1 out. And that's a 2 and an 8 against a right-handed pitcher, and that's a strikeout. So second out brings up George Mullin, the pitcher, who's going to be lifted for a pinch hitter. Mullin was 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a single with his at-bats today. So we're going to bring in the first baseman, Del Gaynor, for Mullin to pinch hit. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. That's a 4 and a 9. Against a right-handed batter is a ground ball shortstop X. It's going to be hit to George McBride, who's a 156. 2 down. Senator's looking for that 3rd out. That's going to be an 8 on the fielding range chart and a 56. 11, 13. Okay, we'll see what that is. So that's a 1, and I rolled an 8, is a G1. And then on the error chart, a 56 for shortstops. And I rolled a 13, results in no error. It's going to be a ground out 6-3 for the 3rd out. So Gaynor comes in as a pinch hitter, isn't able to make anything happen. Tigers pick up 2 though to extend their lead. It's now 3-0 Detroit. Senators are going to be up with the middle part of their order to face Ed Laffett. So Lafitte's going to come into the game for Mullin, and we'll see how the bottom of the ninth pans out. Lafitte, right-handed pitcher, more often than not a starter. He did have one save in 1911. He's a .433 defensively. No opportunities for a balk with a 0 rating, wild pitch 10 or less. He throws from the right side, hold rating a +2, and he uses the number 2 and R card for hitting. So Doc Gessler is up for the Senators. Lafitte's on the mound. We've got a righty-lefty matchup here. Gessler on the day was hit by a pitch, struck out, and flew out in the first. Pitch from Lafitte is a 6 and a 9 against the left-handed batter. That's going to be a leadoff walk. So Gessler reaches on a leadoff walk. It's going to bring up George McBride. McBride was a .235 hitter. I'm going to make a pitching, or a hitting change here. I'm going to bring in Germany Schaefer. Schaefer was not in the starting lineup for the Senators. However, he was their best hitter in 1911. So Schaefer's going to come in as a pinch hitter for McBride. All right, and Doc Gessler let's see here. I'm going to just see if I'm going to make a base running change here. I'm going to I have to stick with Gessler. I don't have anyone faster on the bench. Oh, here we go. Long Tom Long. He doesn't get a good lead very often, though. Yeah, we're going to keep Gessler on base. I don't have anyone better than him. However, I am going to roll for a good lead. So Gessler gets a good lead on a 2 through 9 or an 11. He's out on 10. So here's our roll. So that's a 4. So Gessler gets a good lead. Lafitte has a +2 hold rating. Standage has a -3 arm, so that's a -1 for the pitcher-catcher combo. For a good lead, that's 2. So on a 12 or less, Gessler successfully steals second base. That's a 4. So Gessler steals second. All right, now we have a runner on second base for Germany Schaefer. Infield's playing normal. The pitch to Schaefer is a 4 and a 5 against a right-handed batter. That's going to be a ground ball third base B. So that's going to result in a 5-3 put out, and Gessler's going to stay at second off of that result. It's going to bring up Bill Cunningham, whom I'm going to pinch hit for. I'm going to bring in Tilly Walker, outfielder. Walker hit .272 in 1911 off of 356 plate appearances. So Walker's going to hit for Cunningham. One down, Gessler's at second. The pitch to Walker is a 4 and a 6 against a right-handed batter. It results in a single to right field. So Gessler is going to go to third. Walker is going to go to first. Crawford has a great arm. He's got the -3 arm. I'm going to do my computations to see if I can get Gessler home or what I would need. So I'm just going to show you guys this. so you can see what I'm looking at. Hopefully it's not blurry. So our lead runner, we had a runner on second. A single was hit. So that's A, running speed plus outfielder's arm. So that's a 13 plus the -3 brings it down to 10. A B, if 2 outs, add 2, there's only 1, so it's a 10 so far. And then D, if runners held, subtract 1, if not, add 1. That would make it an 11, a 50-50 shot. I'm going to go for it. What the heck? So, Kessler is going to run, so the third base coach is sending him. So I'm going to throw for the lead runner. I'm going to figure out what the trail runner's advancement is on that. So it's a batter, A minus 5 plus C. So it's 14 minus 5 for a 9 and a C. And it was hit to right field, so I add 2, so that'd be an 11. So an 11 and 11. I'm going to try for home. That'll move Walker to second. So the decision was to make the throw. I'm going to try to advance Walker. Got an equal number on 11 for both players. Gessler's going to try to be thrown out at home. Here we go. That's a 14. He is thrown out. So Gessler is thrown out at home, trying to take that extra base. Walker advances to second on the play at the plate. So there's 2 down. I'm going to score that 9-2. Moves Walker to second. John Henry, the first baseman, is due up. I'm going to pinch hit for Henry with Kid Elberfeld. Elberfeld was 272 was his average in 1911. Elberfeld is a pinch hitter. So we've got Walker at second, 2 down, and Kid Elberfeld is up. Pitch to Elberfeld is a 4 and an 8 against a right-handed batter, results in a single, 1 star, 1 to 10. That's a 16. That's going to be a line out to third base. So a lot of activity. Elberfeld lines out to the third baseman Moriarty to end the game. But it was pretty interesting how this thing played out in the 9th. I'm going to get you the line on Johnson here in a moment. So at the conclusion of the game, Senators are unable to score. And the Tigers win 3-0. So the Detroit Tigers win 3-0. Walter Johnson takes the loss. On the day, Johnson worked 8 1/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 3 runs, all of which were earned, had 1 walk and 4 strikeouts. So, you know, a solid effort from Johnson. He just didn't get the offensive side of the ball to work out too well for him. Probably was the case quite frequently in 1911, given how the Senators finished their season. Mullin gets the win for the Tigers. Hope you enjoyed this game. You know, it slowed down quite a bit in the 9th, but we had a lot of things going on. You know, a lot of different rules from the Super Advanced game came into play. I think I got them correct in how I applied them. Thinking back on it, I would have probably changed my decision on Gessler in terms of trying to get him home. I found a card with a running rating of 15. I probably would have brought another player in who had, you know, would have given him a couple of additional opportunities to be safe. Tom Long is a 1 through 15. Gessler is a 1 through 13. But, you know, fun game nonetheless. It moved quick. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them in the comment section as well. The next game is going to feature Christy Mathewson and the New York Giants against the Philadelphia Athletics. So that should be a fun one. I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.